Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Cassandra Terry. No, it's not Tuesday, it's Wednesday. I'm about to lose a whole day. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. It is Wake Up Wednesday, and I am glad to have the opportunity to be back with you guys. On Wake Up Wednesday, we talk about intentionality, right? How powerful it is and what a tool intentionality is for each of us. So we will continue that trend, and we will talk about intentionality today. But you guys know we always have a theme now, and the theme for this week is habits and routines. So we'll be talking about intentionality from that perspective. So intentionality in our habits and in our routines. The more intentional we are, the more we are focused on the things that we need to do, the things that we desire to create the life that we want. So that focus, that intentionality it's a game changer. It's a game changer. It takes your time and moves it from busyness to productivity. We're all busy. We're all doing lots and lots of things all the time. But that great separator, the thing that really gets us moving forward towards the life that we desire, has us implementing and creating and actually realizing the dreams that we have for ourselves, is how we use that time, how we manage it. And intentionality is a great tool to ensure that you are managing your time to the fullest. You are focused on, you're aware of where it is you're trying to go, right? You have a clear picture of what it is that you want to accomplish, and you're spending your time doing the things that will get you there. That's intentional. Focusing all your resources on a task, a goal, an opportunity, so that you're not just all over the place. One of my friends is always saying that she chases squirrels. As soon as something comes up, it grabs her attention and it has her moving from one direction to another, from one activity to another, from one business opportunity to another. And I can relate to that. I mean, things sound so good, right? All you need is some good marketing, a good salesperson, the right words, and they grab your attention. Everything sounds good. But when you place your attention on your intention, you're going to win. You're going to accomplish the things that you set out for yourself, because where your resources are going, where your focus is going, where your intentions are going, where your activities are taking you is all in alignment and moving in the direction towards the goals, the tasks, the dreams that you have laid out for yourself. Right? The next thing that comes along may be fantastic. It may be a wonderful opportunity, but you have to ask yourself, is it the right opportunity for me? Right? When you have the choice of how you're going to spend your time, hanging out with the friends or going here, going there, doing this, doing that, it all sounds good. It all can be fun. It all can be relaxing. There are a lot of adjectives that we can associate with those things, but you have to ask yourself, is it the right thing for me to do right now, that aligns with the goals, the dreams, the desires that I have for my life? If you keep those in the forefront and you stay focused and intentional about those things, you have nothing to worry about. It makes it easy for you to get involved in the right activities. It makes it easy for you to say no to the things that don't align, and it keeps you moving in the direction of the goals that you set for yourself. Because goals are dreams until we put some activity behind them. It's great. We have the plan. So we've moved a little bit from dreaming, right? Because we've built a plan. But we have to put action in order for those things to actually come into fruition. So it is important that we are mindful all the time of how we're spending our time. That's that precious resource. That's the one resource we can't get back. Once that time has been spent, we can go to work. We can make more money, right? We can buy more food. We can get so many of our other resources replenished. But there is no replenishing of your time. Do you treat it that way? Do you treat your time as the precious resource that it is? right? When you give yourself over to something, when you give your time and your resources to an activity, you're spending something that you cannot get back. So the best that you can hope for is a return on that investment, right? That ROI. So when you're spending that time, you have to ask yourself, what's the return that I'm going to get on this investment? Is it going to give me what it is that I need to continue to move towards my goals, right? And when you are thinking about your time and you realize just how precious it is, you won't squander it. You won't just give it away to any activity, everything that comes along, even if it sounds good, you will realize it might not be the best use of your time because it's not enough for it to sound good. It needs to sound good, not just to you, but for you. It needs to align with the things that you have, the things that you have aligned for yourself. Hold on just one second. Um, Brian is having some trouble. Sorry about that, guys. Let me see if I can help him out quickly because I'm not a good multitasker anymore. He used to be a claim to fame, but I've realized I'm not nearly as good at it as I thought I was. And it does not give me, it doesn't give me the yield that I'm looking for, right? If I'm not focused on what it is that I'm doing, I don't give it my attention. So I just needed to give him the link so that he could join us. So thank you for your patience. And hey Kim, Kim says wonderful Wednesday to all. Glad to see you here. We are just talking about intentionality, Kim. I'm not sure at what point you joined in, but just just like every Wednesday, talking about the importance of being intentional and how having that focus and putting all of our resources in to the things that are going to drive us towards our goals. It short circuits us getting there. It accelerates the process. It gives us a much better opportunity to be successful. I have a quote for you guys today because if you remember, our theme for the week is habits and routines. So today's broadcast is intentionality in habits and routines. And so the quote for the day is the secret of your future is hidden in your daily routine. And that was said by Mike Murdock. Welcome, Brian. Sorry for the mix up. Glad you could join us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Can you hear
No,
me?
no worries.
There you are.
Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you didn't miss much. We just did a little kickoff talking about the power of intentionality, and we're starting to look at it from the perspective of our habits and our routines. And I think one of the best things that any of us can do throughout our day this week, since we're focused on habits and routines, really be intentional about understanding what your habits and your routines are. So, for most of us in the US at least, it's morning, right? So, what does your morning routine look like? I'm a couple of hours into my day already. Get up around 5:30, went to the gym, worked out, went and checked on my plants as soon as I got home, and then ran upstairs to get ready to get the show started. So, that's kind of what my morning looks like. If I roll back a little bit before I get out of bed and start all that activity, I have a few minutes where I think about the things that I'm grateful for just to get the mindset right. And so we start with the mental and the spiritual, and then go to the gym. I'm getting into the physical, and then I'm here where I belong, operating in my purpose. So that's what my morning routine looked like. So for me, I have to take a look at that and just spend some time with it and go, is that routine serving me? Am I getting what I need? I made sure before I went to the gym this morning to set a bottle of water right by my laptop so that I had that there. If the throat starts to get scratchy, I've got what I need. And I'm trying to get a couple of bottles in before I start the workday because I told my physical therapist I'd do at least 4 a day. So one was done at the gym. I've got one right here that I'll work on this morning, probably one at lunch, one at dinner, planning it out, being intentional about the things that I'm doing. And I can't tell y'all, this back pain is just about gone. My back felt, I realized as I was walking out of my bedroom and getting ready to come into the office, I wasn't feeling that pain. I'm so accustomed to it being there that it took a minute for me to notice that it was gone, right? But being intentional and giving my body what it needs, my body is starting to pay me back. That's that ROI I was talking about, the return on that investment. Getting up a little bit earlier, an hour earlier, hour and 15 minutes earlier than I usually do, and going to the gym and being really intentional about getting that water in, the investment is already starting to pay off. I'm starting to feel the return. I don't feel quite as tight. I don't have quite as much pain as I was having last week and the weeks. All that travel so quickly really paid a toll. It was really causing my body to just hurt and ache, and I was uncomfortable. But just a slight adjustment. So now I was thinking about my routine this morning because it's important to me to get into my garden first thing in the morning. It's just a peaceful place, and I love seeing all the fruits and vegetables starting to pop out in the stages, the different stages that they're in. So that's a part of my mental adjustment and a part of my self care. So I was thinking about it as I was sitting down. It was like, okay, I'm starting the live. Did I give myself enough time to really get centered, to really be present, to really give my best? I had time to pray. I had time to get my Instagram going, which I haven't done in a while since my laptop failed me, but I finally figured it out on my iPad. So I've got all the socials going now. So even though it was kind of a quick transition from the time I got into the house until it was time to start, I was able to do it peacefully and get everything done and start on time. So as I evaluate my routine for the morning, I'm like, okay, not bad, not bad. If I had a little bit more time before I start, if I can adjust it and get maybe 5 more minutes of just that calm, that would be good. So I'll look for that. Maybe leave the gym a little bit earlier. Look for, that's what we have to do. How's my routine? How is it working for me? Is it meeting the need? Am I able to show up, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally? Am I able to bring all of me into whatever situation I'm called into, and I'm good, right? I'm prepared. I have the right mindset. That takes intentionality. You have to know what mindset you need. You have to know where it is you're trying to go. You have to be clear about how you want to show up and be very, very clear about what it's required. Remember those systems we talked about last week? Do you have the system in place? Is your routine happening? Does your daily routine support the life that you're building? If it doesn't, that evaluation some things will pop out and it'll help you make the necessary adjustments so that you can be successful. That's what it's all about. The secret is in our daily routine because your daily routine is where your time goes. And we were just talking about how precious our time is. It's our most precious resource because it does not replenish. When those 24 hours are spent, it's a new day. You can't get them back, right? That's what make the rarity of a thing is what makes it special, what makes it important, what gives it a higher value. There is nothing more rare than your time. You can't get it back once it's gone. So if you can start to think about it from that perspective, just how precious your time is, you'll be more mindful about how you spend it. Am I spending my most precious resource on the things that are going to help me be who and what it is I'm intending to be? Am I reaching my goals? If I'm not, let me rewind and take a look at my daily routine and see where those adjustments need to be so that I can get there, so I can see that success. Alicia, hello, 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 my sister. I see you there. Kelly, mind, body, spirit, soul, and nutrition. Without the nutrition, for all of those, right? When we think about nutrition, we often think about what it is that we eat for our physical body. That's an important part of the equation, right? That's foundational. If we're not physically well, if we're not doing the things that we need for our physical body, it's hard for the rest of us to operate optimally as well. But what's your spiritual food, right? or what are you feasting on? What does your mind need? What's your mental appetite? What are you taking in? We have to look at how what nutrition we're giving for every layer of ourselves. That's why when I go into my garden, I'm taking in a bite. I'm taking in some nourishment for my mind, for my spirit, right? When I say my gratitude prayers in the morning, when I pray before I start my show, I'm that's taking a spiritual feast. I'm feeding on that. I'm giving myself what I need to be the best version of myself. When I get up at 5:30 and go to the gym, I'm giving my physical body the movement that it needs. I've got the water. I'm giving it the hydration that it needs. I'll have a good breakfast waiting for me when I'm done so that I'm taking in good nutrition that way. But it all requires intentionality, focus, making good decisions, having a goal for yourself. We often have goals around the things we want to do, the things we want to accomplish. But it's important to have goals around how I want to feel, how I want to be present, how I want to be connected, what the rest of my life beyond my physical existence. What do I have desired in those spaces? Do I have the right routines in place to accomplish those things as well? We have to take care of the entire person, not just the physical, not just the mental, not just the spiritual. We need it all working together in order for us to be optimal, right? One part of your car not working right, it has an effect on the overall machine, right? If we think of ourselves as the ultimate machines, we have to have the right nutrition in each layer of that machine. Thanks for sharing that, Kelly. So, Brian, secret of our future is hidden in our daily routine. That is our quote for today. I'll come back in a little bit with some actionable steps to share as well. But I want to invite you into the conversation and see what's on your mind today.
No, it's all well and good to talk about routines and having them set and having a plan. But what happens when you get punched in the face? That's what I want to talk about today.
Okay.
What do you do? What do you do when you get punched in the face? And I want to open this conversation up. I want this to be more of a dialogue today than
Mm-hmm.
just me spouting off my experience with it. I'm
Uh huh.
curious. What do you do? Right? What do you do when everything you planned goes the opposite direction? And it happens to everybody all
It
the
does.
time. Yeah,
Yes.
from the smallest thing to the largest thing. What do you do when it goes the opposite way? And is it possible to stop the hemorrhaging? Right? Is it possible, depending on the level of, I want to say, time you got invested in sticking to this routine, which is why it's so important to hurry up and stick with something, right? Whether it's just, like you said, waking up and being mindful and grateful. If you just stick to that, right? Doesn't that help to kind of soften the blow when you get punched in the face? Because you're gonna get punched in the face. And all of the steps and all of the routines and the habits, all of that, you know, it really goes back to the mindset, and which is why I'm
Mm-hmm.
asking the question. What do you
Mm-hmm.
do? Right?
That's a great question, and it's very true and timely. Somebody is going through something. Somebody has just been punched in the face. Somebody's about to be punched in the face. Be it your physical or your metaphorically, we get punched right on a fairly regular basis, and it does go back to the mindset. How do you? What's your joy? What is your happiness? What is your existence tied to? If it's a external something, right, and those things get shaken up, then your whole world is completely shaken up. We have lost loved ones, We have bad medical diagnoses. I'll give you an example. A lady that I used to go to church with for years, she relocated. Um, um, she found out she had breast cancer. And this lady's fairly young, very, very active, good, very busy in the church. She sings, she worked in the choir, she did all kinds of things. And she had a really good career on top of it all. So when you looked at her, you saw somebody who, had their stuff together and was always at least attempting, to do well, to do good for not just herself, but for others. And then bam, this diagnosis came, and she's been battling it now for what seems like about a year. Um, and she's almost done. She's gotten through the chemo, and now she's finishing up the radiation. And I watched her physically change as she lost her hair and as the medication added on the weight and all those things. But I never saw her spiritually change. I don't think she really mentally changed. She was so connected in to who she is that that diagnosis didn't take away the core of who she is. She actually went so far as to go live on a regular basis, and she's taken us all through this journey with her, which is very, very brave. I never saw her pretend it was easy. I never saw her be so holier than thou that she was just spewing out this positivity to a point that it was excuse me, unrealistic. There were days where her message would be, man, this is so hard, man, I can't wait till this is over. But every time you saw her, she had her lipstick on and her face done, and she was just going, she was doing what was the necessary thing to do next to keep moving forward. She never stopped putting one foot in front of the other, even though she was facing something that was challenging her very existence on this earth. I never saw her stop moving. Did she have probably freak out times in her private time? I'm sure she did, because she's human. But the core of who she is and who I had seen her to be when she was healthy, it just continued to shine through despite this new obstacle that she had to get over. And I'm so impressed and so proud of her and so thankful that she's coming to the end of this process. And I'm just amazed that she took everybody with her. And then she said, oh, I'm learning this. These are the bad things that happen to you that they don't talk about when you're going through chemo. So she talked about how you have to take care of your teeth and your gums and stuff differently because the chemo can attack that stuff. And you do this and you do that. She was literally walking people through her experience. I believe I think she let them shave her hair, shave her head on camera. Yeah, she did. So even that was she opened up about. And man, did she cry? She did. And she did her face and she, bucked herself up and she kept going because who she is and whose she is bigger, and she's more grounded in that than her circumstances. And that's an extreme punch in the face. um, but I saw the human spirit. I saw the godly connection. I saw the leaning into her community and allowing people to support her. She didn't hide. She didn't tuck herself away. She didn't pretend like it was not absolutely horrible what she was going through. But despite it all, there she was with that smile and that lipstick. And she talked about the how sick the medication was. She let us know when she had to spend the night in the hospital because she needed an IV because she wasn't able to keep anything in. And so, like I said, she never pretended that it was easy. She did not pretend that the punch in the face was not absolutely excruciatingly painful. It hurts to get punched in the face, but we can recover. We can maintain. We can keep moving forward. We have to be connected to moving forward instead of allowing whatever the circumstance is to overwhelm us for long. It does, it'll get overwhelming in spurts. There will be times where we just have to sit down and we have to just cry. We have to cry out. We have to do whatever we need to do to get that ugly energy out of our bodies, because that energy feeds and creates something horrible within us. So we have to get it out, but we can find productive ways to get it out. I remember when my mother-in-law passed away, I was really close to her, but I'm married to her baby, her last born child, and they were super, super close. And that thing took a toll on him like nothing I had ever seen. You know, when he had that rug ripped from under him, all I could do was to try and support him as he was going through and trying to get his legs under him again, which felt like to me that I couldn't grieve. I couldn't cry. I couldn't show the weakness because he was already going through so much. And I was talking to one of our friends and I was like, sometimes I feel like I'm just going to lose it because I've got all of this pent up energy inside of me and I need to do something with it. I need to get it out. I'm grieving her too. I miss her too, but I don't want to add additional burden on top of a load that feels too heavy for my husband to carry already. And so I was struggling with, where do I fit into this grief picture and how do I allow it to happen for me while I'm being supported to somebody who I felt like had bigger grief or more reason to grieve because it's his actual mom. Now, by that time, I had been married to him for over 20 years. So she had been a staple in my life for most of my adult life at that point. But it still felt like I didn't want to burden him with additional grief. And my friend said, go out somewhere and just scream, you know, put your head in a pillow and just let it out. Get that stuff out of your body so that the healing, the moving forward can really begin. And sometimes as humans, we don't give ourselves that grace. God is not going to be upset with us for being human when He created us as humans. He created us with all of these emotions. He created us with the ability to fear and to have anxiety and all of those things. He said, I'm here. Give me your burdens and I'll take. But He knows who we are and how we're put together, not just as a human, but as an individual, as Cassandra, right? If He knows every hair on my head, He knows when I'm about to hit tilt and I can't go anymore, right? And so sometimes we have to just give ourselves permission to say, ow, that hurt. That was so painful. I didn't see that punch coming. I didn't expect it to come from that direction. I never thought this person would be the one to punch me. I never thought I'd have to go through this situation. Why am I the one having this diagnosis when I eat well, I work out, I do all the right stuff? What's happening? We often are told not to question God. And I get it in the grand scheme of things, but there's no question that we can't ask Him, that He doesn't have shoulder enough, strength enough to answer. He will see us through whatever is going on. And He knows you've been punched in the face. And He knows that as a human you're going to have a reaction to that punch. He's just here to say, let me help you not make a bad situation even worse. Lean in, lean on me, lean on the people that I've put around you, lean on the things that I've left you in my word so that you can keep moving forward and not get stuck. And don't make this such a defining moment that you live the rest of your life reliving this situation over and over and over again. That the punches are going to come, but the more we have internal peace, the more we are clear about who we are and how we're going to show up in the world. We have to plan for those things. It's like when you're already in the car crash, it's hard to get the seatbelt on. That's why we put them on before we pull out of the driveway. You put your protection on first. So ask yourself what your protection is and keep that armor nearby. Put it on before you leave out, and then you give yourself grace as you go through whatever it is that metaphorical punch in the face. Let's see. There are quite a few comments that have come in. Kim says, so true. My neighbor came down yesterday and told us he found out liver cancer. Wow. His words were, I'm on my way out, which we yelled at him. Positivity is so important. But with that said, my point being, think of what might be going through his head. Intentionality is key. See, Brian knew he says this as I was already typing. Yeah, yeah. And for him to have that response is a natural response. That's the fear. That's the the unexpectedness of it all, and that's a part of the process, and we work our way through it, and we take one day at a time, sometimes 1 minute at a time. When we're dealing with something that huge, there's not a right answer in how you grieve. There's not a right answer in how you deal with a huge diagnosis like that. You just have to walk along beside him and be supportive, be prayerful, give him, what he needs, and you be that positivity and keep speaking life over him until he can find his way back to that for himself. But it's a process. It's hard to be, here liver cancer and 5 minutes later going, I'm gonna beat this thing. I got it. You've got to process all of those emotions and work through it. And it's good that you guys have a good enough relationship with him that he brought it to you. So kind of by default, you're a part of that support system. So wow, Kim, and it's amazing that Brian, that's the question that you brought forward when Kim had something like that going on within the last 24 hours. Leah says, Happy Wake Up Wednesday. She says, When I get punched, that is when my habits, rituals, and routines become even more critical. Absolutely. That's why we talk about that pace period, because that's what's setting what your defaults are. The more you have practiced the thing, the more it will come up for you during those stressful times. Whatever it is that is your stress behaviors, that's what's going to show up first. And so having those good habits and routines will support you through whatever it is that life is throwing at you. She says, I get focused on the things I can control and release the things that are out of my control and give it to God. Absolutely. Kim says, yes, the diagnosis. Um, Yes, this diagnosis will not define us. Get up and let's fight this. My sister in law had beat breast cancer and then ulcers she would get in her mouth were terrible. Yeah, that's the type of things that my friends were talking about, that the chemo and stuff did. Kelly says, great question. For me, it depends on the situation. Life be lifing, but our training and regiment prepares us for those metaphorical and literal blows. This is why the mental and spiritual training are imperative. When we have that, we have a foundation to persevere and the awareness to recharge with hope as we realize that the figurative may be the creator or universe offering us an opportunity to pivot or shift, to receive a lesson, to try something new, to get our desired results. And so, Kelly, after I think there's more because you say when I lost, and then it just I just have the dots because it only allows so many characters on my screen. So if you can copy and repaste as a second comment starting from when I lost, I'd love to hear the rest of what you shared. And Leah says that physical release for me is part of the healing process. It absolutely is, right? It's difficult. Can you imagine trying to heal a cut that you rescrape every day, right? If you keep nicking it, it's never going to heal. And holding all of that in is metaphorically like nicking that cut over and over and over again and wondering why it's not healing. We have to get it out. It's a part of the process. So, Brian, we've said a lot. You asked a fantastic question. What are you thinking after hearing all of that?
I'm just reading along the comments and listening. It's my thing. I like to listen and take in more than I put out.
Hmm. All right.
Yeah, so that being said, I've got another question.
Okay.
I came out asking questions. I like to think is how I'm gonna go back to. So yeah, knowing that you will and how to handle it. That's a part of it. But you know, getting punched in the face is it's I guess the best way to put it is it never comes when you plan it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So no matter when or what you do to get punched in the face, it's like that training and that routine that Kelly was just talking about. And I think that's and again, I was reading through the comments. I think that's what he's saying, something to that effect. Now, very close family member, I had to remember I still had the 2 decades of memories that made them family.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, it's comforting to say that, but you still have to be able to move forward. There's still something that you're here to do. There's still something that's required of you.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that thing that's required of you is in direct correlation to whatever it is that punched you in the face, right? Because the two are close to you, the two matter,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're not going to get punched in the face if it's from, something that doesn't have an effect on you, right? In life, like physically, somebody can walk around the corner and just punch you in the face, right? That's probably highly unlikely, but that's what that realistic. I lost a job I've been working it for 30 years, right? And I didn't just lose it. The company was dissolved because they were a fraud, and I had all of my 401k tied up in them, and we were planning to retire off of it. And one day you wake up on the news and you see Bernie Madoff was actually the guy you were playing golf with, and now that's over with, right? That's a huge punch in the face.
Mm-hmm.
What we just experienced with the pandemic, huge punch in the face, right?
Right.
What we will continue to experience, because once you get punched in the face one time and you survive, then you level up for the next punch in the face, right? It's not a matter of if I get punched in the face, it's when and how hard this particular time. And each time that level of severity with that punch, it takes a little bit more out of you, right? The older you get, I used to have a saying for a long time with some friends that I used to go on the course with. The older you get, the more difficult your second chances become. So as you get older, the likelihood of you getting another shot at being able to do it, even if the opportunity is there, will you be fit to present yourself? Right? How will you present yourself to be fit for that opportunity? Right? Because every time you go through this, right, that's the frailty of these bodies, the realism of these bodies, and your physical and your mental and all of that, right? Your spiritual. That's all tied to that frailty of that physical form. So you lose a little bit of that every single time. How do you And I know how. I know how I do it. But I would like to know, how do you do it? How can you expect to do it without planning out, you know, 7, 10, 20, and if you want to go that far after you get out 17 or 20 and you see that it's working, continue to plan out 100, 200, 300. If you could see that far. How can you expect to do those things that you claim to want to do and yet you don't want to go any further than tomorrow evening. What's for dinner? How do you do that? How do you do that and walk around and think that things are gonna go your way? How does that happen? That's part two.
I hear you. I hear you. So if I'm not planning, if I don't have any vision past dinner tomorrow, all the things that we talk about every day are not in place. I have no intentionality. I have no focus. I'm not trying to transform anything. I'm literally just existing. My life may be busy, but it's not likely to be productive, right? Because I don't have a direction. Like, I don't believe that every moment of every day needs to be planned out, because we're going to have to adjust as lives. There's obstacles are going to come up. We have to be flexible in our planning, but we have to have a direction. I can get in my car right now and I can drive for an hour, end up somewhere, right? But will I end up where I would like to be? And do I have enough gas in my car to get there? Has the right maintenance been done? Does my oil need to be changed? If I don't do any planning, that's going to be an interesting trip, right? But if I actually, I'm going to see my mom, right? I have an actual address in mind. So I know if that's a 2.5 hour drive. Have I tanked up? Do I have enough clothes to stay for as long as I plan out that trip, right? And I think about the things that I want to do when I get there, so that I've properly planned, I've packed, I've got the stuff with me. I've got in the back of my mind, if I really forget something, she probably has it. Otherwise, I can run around the corner to the store. So I need to make sure I've got a little money, right? I'm thinking about it. I don't just get in my car and drive off aimlessly in any direction. I'm going somewhere, right? Are there places along the way where I can refuel if I need to? What if I get hungry? What if I need a bio break? What do I do to manage me and what I need from point A to point B? Is anybody going with me? Right? If I take my daughter, she's got a 5-month old. So we have to have provisions for a baby. It's a different trip now, right? But I'm thinking about that before I ever walk out my door. I'm not walking out and just getting in my car and backing out. But that's how many of us live our lives. We're just aimlessly going through whatever, responding to whatever, really reacting to whatever life throws us. And because we have no destination beyond dinner, we don't know what things to get involved in, what things not to, what are the things that are the best use of my time. We can't even begin to assess those things because we have no vision, right? We have to have a destination in mind. It may be, I was on my way home from the gym today, and I was thinking about a 3 month, a 30-day vacation that I'd like to do. It's like, we've done a little international travel, but there's still some places in the US that I haven't seen. um and I was thinking about some of like the bigger monuments and things that are not that far away, but I just haven't made plans to experience them. And I was like, you know what? Next summer, I'd like to just take 30 days and just do the US. Hit the highlights and just go from one end to the other and see the things that I desire to see. That's going to take some planning. What do I want to see? Where do we stop? Are we driving? What are we doing? You have to plan out. You have to have a destination in mind, plan out the milestones along the way, and then you can, at any point in time, assess how life is going. Am I accomplishing the things that I intended to? What did I intend to do with this life that I've been gifted? What did I intend? July is about over. Today's the last day of July. It's my baby girl's birthday. July's done. What did I intend for July? I can assess now and see how it went. But if I didn't have any intention, there's no point in even going there. We're going to look forward to August. August 1st is tomorrow. There is no time like the present to get intentional. What is it that I intend to do with the month of August? What do I intend to do with the first week of August? What do I intend to do with August the 1st? We still have July 31st. What do I intend to do today? But we have to create that intention for ourselves and start to think about what it is that we're doing. That's the only way that we don't squander that most precious resource of time, that non renewable, high value resource of time. How you spend it, what you do with it, how you manage it is the difference between being where you are and getting where it is you'd like to be. You have to make that plan and you have to work that plan. And that plan requires vision. What are you planning for? What are you trying to accomplish? What's happening after dinner? Right? What's next? If you don't have any direction, you'll my grandma used to say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. You have to be clear about what you want because that also informs you about what you don't want. And now you've got your decision making framework right there. The things that I desire, the things that are going to get me towards what I desire falls within the circle. Those are the things that I where I'm going to spend my time. The things that are not going to get me there, the things that are distractions, push them outside the circle. Don't allow them to eat up your time because they will. There's a game that I can play on my phone. Y'all, when I get started, it gives me so much mental pleasure just trying to strategically work through what this game is doing that I can look up and an hour is gone. I can't get it back, right? For me to do that every once in a while, or maybe do it for 15 minutes, is good because it gives me such it relaxes my mind so. But if I go beyond that, it can encroach on my sleep. It can make me late for things. It can have me not focused when I should be doing something. I'm multitasking, back to that bad habit of trying to do too many things at once. We have to be clear about what it is that we're trying to do. What is the vision that you have for you in your life? And the things inside your circle, your framework, or it should be the things that are going to get you there. And you push everything else out. All right, Brian, we've had quite a few other comments come in. Kelly did finish his comment for me. He said he lost a very close family member. I had to remember, I still had 2 decades of memory that made them family. And Kim actually screenshotted it and sent it to me. So I've got the rest of it. And he quoted Frederick Douglass, there can be no progress without struggle. Yeah, absolutely. This life will be laden with struggle, and how we handle that struggle, how we learn to respond to it, it will either make us stronger or it will freeze us in time. It will give us, motivate us, and keep us moving forward, or it'll overwhelm us. But we can decide which way we're going to go when those struggles come. Kelly also said our curiosity is what we have to lean on when we get punched. Love it, love it, love it. Let's see. Kim said, Brian, you have no idea what your question would open up. LOL. Floodgates for sure. It's not about how hard you get hit, it's how hard you hit back, how hard you get hit and get back up. Oh, she's quoting Rocky, Sylvester Stallone. Said it best. It's not how hard you get hit, but it's how hard you get hit and get back up. Love it. Leah says, in every adversity, there is a seed of benefit. In every adversity, there is a seed of benefit. If we look for it, I look for the lesson. Also, I've trained myself to do what I can and then immediately get active and focus on whatever it is I can do to resolve the issue. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I talk about looking for, there's a lesson in every situation. And it may, you know, I wouldn't advise you saying that to somebody when they've just been punched. You know, hey, I just heard you got liver cancer. There's a lesson in that. What'd you get? You know, it not in that moment, right? They're still overwhelmed by just the news and need time to process. But as time goes, you will see and be able to point out some differences, some growth, some lesson in a way that's encouraging. You know, so just keep an eye on how things are unfolding, and when you have the opportunity to pour in that light, pour it in, pour it in, pour it in. um, Leah says it's not how many times you get punched, it's how long you stay down. I say it to myself, get up, champion. I start filling myself with affirmations. She said this is a fantastic conversation. I agree wholeheartedly. Yes, it is. Um, and Kim provided a link to Sylvester Stallone's saying it. Thank you, Kim, for that. All right, Brian, you've stirred some great conversations today. What else is on your mind, or have you emptied out for the moment?
Yeah, I'm all stirred out.
You all stirred out. All right. So I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how you go about being intentional in your habits and your routines. And it starts by setting clear intentions. We already talked about that a little bit. What do you intend for the day? If it's early in your day, you still have time to bring in that intentionality and set your intentions for the remainder of the day. If you're like Leah and you're at the end of the day, you're already setting your intentions for the next day. She closes her day by preparing for the next day, right? Good tips that can help you start to get that focus and that intentionality in your routines and habits and how you go through your life. You want to regularly review those routines and habits. Are they still working for me? Brian talked about getting punched in the face and surviving it, and then the next punch being even more severe. If that's the case, what you need to survive the next one may be a little bit different than what you leaned on in the first one. So keep reviewing, what are my habits? What are my routines? How am I showing up for myself and for others? Is that working, or is there an opportunity to tweak it and improve it? Practice mindfulness. That's one that shows up on a regular basis. Getting that quiet time to just allow your mind to rest and to receive whatever it is, those lessons that Leah was talking about. Dr. Marcia messaged me a couple of days ago or so, and she was saying how God is not in the chaos, right? When we're in chaos, it's hard to receive messages. It's hard to know what exactly it is we should do next. You're just getting to that react, react, react. That mindfulness says stop, slow down, be still, and allow those messages to come in, to see what makes sense to be your next best move, to hear the messages, to hear that connection that comes in the quiet. That my downloads, 9 times out of 10, they come as I'm drifting off to sleep or just waking up, or when I'm in that real quiet space. They were there all along, but I was moving too fast, had too many distractions, too much going on for me to hear them. But when we quiet ourselves and we allow ourselves to get into that place of peace, you'd be amazed at the answers that will find you. Routine audit. Audit your routine on a regular basis, very similar to the regular reviews we talked about. Make sure that you are doing the things that continue to support you. I talk about that. There's things that I had to stop. There were things that when I was younger, there were habits and routines that I created because I was sometimes in places that weren't safe. So that built up fear, that built up a lack of trust, that built up walls to protect me, right? Well, as I got older and got my own space and I was surrounded in a safe space, those walls that used to protect me now were keeping people out, were keeping love out, were shielding me from the very things that I needed in that season of my life. So it's important that we take a look at how we're showing up on a regular basis, audit it, what's working, what's not, and make the necessary changes. And then lastly, do a goal alignment check. Do my habits and routines support the goals that I have for myself? Are they in alignment? When you find out that they're not, be happy that you have that awareness because now you can change it. Don't beat yourself up. Don't get all frustrated and go off the deep end because then you spend more time out of alignment when you could just take that energy, figure out what it is you need to do differently, do that and get right back on the path, get back in alignment and move forward. So those goal alignment checks are important because sometimes we're doing good stuff, but it's not the good stuff that we need to support the life that we're building, right? So make sure that you're in alignment, mind, body, spirit, all of it. Feed it, give it that nutrition that Kelly mentioned earlier, and set yourself up through your routines and through your habits, through your intentionality. Set yourself up to be successful at accomplishing the things that you set forth as goals for yourself. We all have the ability to do that. We all have the ability to accomplish everything that we desire. It's already in us, right? What we don't have, we can learn. The abilities are in us. But we have to believe that. We have to be clear about what it is we want to do. We have to build a plan to get there. And then step by step, choice by choice, with intentionality, with good habits and routines, day in, day out, do the things that are going to help you accomplish what it is that you set out for yourself. You are capable. I believe in you. Hey, Kelly. We've got two Kellys on today. Kelly Burns has joined us. It's good to see you as well. We are just wrapping up, Kelly. So hopefully you will be able to catch the replay. But that is it for today. Oh, I did want to share with you guys. Um, I talked to Brian about this last night. I have an opportunity to do. I'm in the self care mode, right? There's things that my physical body has needed, and I'm working really hard on that right now with the getting up early, going to the gym, and all that good stuff. Seeing the chiropractor, but there's also a pouring that I need spiritually, right? And there's a 21-day event that's coming up starting on Monday, and it overlaps with our time. It starts at 7 a.m. I'm not sure how long each day's event will be, but I've decided that I'm going to take a sabbatical. And in August, I am going to use this time to get quiet, to get recharged, to be a part of this poor event that's coming on, and to recharge my battery. I haven't figured out quite yet. I need to slow down and get quiet and see what that means for the show. I always have the replays that I can lean on, but I do have a little tug where I think I may do a little bit more than that. Um, and I think I'll do some things in the evenings a couple of days a week to keep us connected. But Friday of this week will be the last live in August, and then I'll take my sabbatical and participate in this spirit filled event, and then I'll be back to you guys. Either I've got to see what the final date is of that. I'm thinking I'll be back September 1, which is my husband's birthday, and I don't know what day of the week that is yet. But I'm thinking the first week in September, but it could be the last week in August. I've got to get into my quiet space and see what God gives me. But my daughter shared that event with me, and she was really wanting me to participate, and she feels like it's going to be um, exactly what I need. And I just felt it when I looked at it. I felt the urge to participate. So I hope you guys don't forget about me while I am getting that spiritual recharge. The newsletter will still be there. Some form of the show will be there, and the daily post and things like that. But my mornings are going to be um, dedicated to connecting with God and uh, just building up my spiritual life over the next 21 days. So I did want to let you guys know that. So make sure you're with me tomorrow and Friday. And then we'll have the live break of the show, and then I'll keep you guys posted as to when it'll be live again, and when I'm doing things after hours and stuff like that. So just wanted to make you guys aware of that. Thank you, Leah. Leah said, good for you, our mindset queen. Thank you, Leah. I appreciate that. And hopefully you guys don't, like I said, don't forget about me. I will not be far. But I need to practice what I preach. And self-care is huge, and it is time for me to get reconnected on a more in a more intentional way in that part of my life. And then we'll get back together, and I will be better for it, and I will share with you guys what lessons I learned as appropriate. But that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me. We will be back tomorrow, a regular scheduled time for Thankful Thursday, where we will have the opportunity to share and talk about my favorite topic, gratitude. And then we'll wrap up the week on Friday before I start my sabbatical. So thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day on purpose. Choose to make it a wonderful day. The day that you desire is yours for the taking. So I want to encourage you to just go get it. And I'll see you guys back here tomorrow.